Hey everyone, this is my first video in my garden series that I'm going to be doing, and this video is about growing seed and raising plants from seed. And what I thought I would do is just show you a few sort of different growing options, like growing containers and things like that, that I use that are really inexpensive, because I think some people kind of hesitate to grow things from seed because I think you need a lot of money to set up you know, set everything up. Like you need fancy containers and propagators and things like that, and you certainly don't. So I'm going to show you some things that I use, and then I will show you how to, well, not how to sow, because I think most people sort of know how to do that, but just how I sow certain seeds, because there are some seeds that are really fine that you know, you sort of, there's a bit of a trick to sowing them so they germinate. So I thought I would just sow 3 different types of seed to show you, and then kind of monitor them on like a weekly vlog right from today right until they're in the garden and we are harvesting them. So now I've been growing plants from seed for years, and for me, from a magical practitioner's point of view, I always feel that I have a stronger connection to the plant if I've grown it from seed, and I've sown the seed, and I've nurtured it, and I've cared for it, and I've put it in the garden, and I've harvested it, for use in my practice. So I think that it gives me a stronger connection to the plant. And of course you can do seed blessings and rituals for things like that if your seeds are going to be for like solely a magical purpose, if you're into garden witchery and things like that, which I am. So that's one option. Well, that's one reason why I like growing from seed. Another one is variety. Now the garden shops over here, although they do stock herbs, they're mainly all the sort of more common culinary type herbs, so parsley and sage and mint and things like that. So for the more unusual type herbs, they're very hard to get, and you sometimes only have the option to buy them in seed form. And so I actually have quite a bit of fun, finding the sort of more unusual type herbs that I want to grow, finding the seed and getting the seed and growing it. So for me, a lot of it comes down to variety as well, and even things like vegetables. If you go to the garden centre and you think about tomatoes, for example, there might be 10 varieties of tomatoes, whereas if you grow from seed, it's limitless. I mean, you're only restricted by the seed that you can get. So variety is definitely a big plus to growing your own plants from seed. Another one is cost. If you think of it again from a magical practitioner's point of view, if you use, for example, lots of rosemary in your practice, if you've got your own plant, then you can harvest straight from the plant instead of having to buy bagged herbs all the time online. And you can't always trust that they're organic also, so if you grow it yourself, you know what sprays have been put on it, etc, etc, etc. And if you grow that plant from seed, and if you have success growing your plants from seed, the excess that you have, you can give away to friends, to coven members. You might want to have a communal coven herb garden. I think that's a really cool idea. And not just coven members, but just with friends and family, you can exchange and give plants away, or you can grow a whole heap of different sort of herbs and sell them as seedlings, which is what I do sometimes here when I get an excess of a certain when I get an excess of a certain type of plant, then I will put them on the internet for $1 a plant or a couple of bucks a plant, and make a bit of pocket money. So that's another option, excuse me. And also, if you're growing growing vegetables, from a budgeting side of things, you can effectively feed yourself for free. If you think about, okay, say you're growing a whole lot, say you've got broccoli growing in the garden. If you let one of those plants flower and then set seed, so you don't harvest it, you let it flower and it will set seed, you can collect the seed off it, and then you've got seed for the next couple of years. Sustainable living, you know, it's what our grandparents did, it's what our great-grandparents did. They effectively fed themselves for free, and I'll tell you, you know, we don't have a huge garden, but in the height of summer, we are completely self-sufficient when it comes to vegetables. We don't buy anything. Everything comes from the garden, so that's a big bonus for me. So there are heaps and heaps of pluses from, you know, for growing from seed, and it's certainly not hard. It's really easy. There's just a few little tricks and tips that you need to remember, and I'll show you what I use to sow my seeds in a minute. But the main things that you need are a really good quality seed raising mix. Don't use the dirt out of your garden, because the seed raising mix has everything in it. It has all the nutrients, all the fertilisers and everything in it that the seed needs to germinate and grow into a strong, healthy plant. So you need a good quality mix. Also, don't use potting mix. The loom is too loose, and with the really fine seeds it'll just fall right through. It's got a little bark in it. It's for established plants, you know, in pots. It's not for raising seeds. So get a good quality seed raising mix. They're not expensive. I'll show you the brand that I use all the time in a minute. It's about $9 for a, I can't see how big the bag is, a couple of bags of that, and that's all I need all season. So you need good quality mix, you need seed obviously, and make sure that the seed that you're germinating can grow in your area. You know, you guys in America have different zones and things like that. It's pretty simple over here. There's a North Island, there's a South Island. North Island's typically fairly warm, South Island where I am is really freezing, so just make sure that you know, that you check that, that you check that the seeds that you're going to be germinating will grow in your area. There's no point growing seeds that, or germinating seeds that the plants, you know, won't grow. I'm getting so distracted by the cat. For example, we can't grow watermelon here, it's just far too cold, so it would be pointless me sowing the seed. So seed raising mix, you obviously need containers to grow your seeds in. You need a spray bottle to mist your plants. Don't water them with a watering can, because the seeds will just run straight off and get lost. So you need just a little cheap spray bottle. You need, you know, some sticks, or like ice cream sticks, to label what you've grown, because all seeds look the same when they first germinate and you'll forget what you've sown. And you need somewhere warm to germinate them, so you can put them on a windowsill, in your hot water cupboard. If you put them in your hot water cupboard, make sure that you take them out once they've popped their heads through. If you leave them in there, they will die, because they need light to continue growing. And that's it really, nothing fancy, and once you've done it a couple of times, it'll be so easy. So I am going to sow some seeds, show you a few of the different containers and things that I sow my seeds in and where I sow them, and we'll get started. So be back in a minute. So welcome back. Before I sow the seeds, I'm just going to show you a couple of growing options, like container wise, that you can use, and I've got a really cool recyclable option that you can use also. So I use these all the time. When you buy plants from the garden shop, they will often come in these plastic little trays, and I'll generally have like vegetables or something in there, so they might have like, you know, 6 broccoli or, you know, whatever. So I keep them and wash them and use them over and over again. These are really, really handy if you are only wanting to grow like 2 of each plant, so 2 broccoli, 2 cabbage, 2 cauliflower, for example, if you've only got like a small plot and a small family, and you know, you don't want to be growing 6 of one vegetable. You can mix and match what you're growing. You can leave the plants in here right from germination all the way through to planting them in your garden. So these are good, and if you need to buy them, shush, they're only like 10 cents at the garden shop, so these are a good option. This is something else that you can use. I think this was like $2 or $3 at the warehouse or something, and I'm
having a bit of trouble filming this because the sun's like, everywhere I go in the garden the sun's so glary, so I'm filming it down the side of my house and it's really noisy, so sorry. Anyway, this is like a little mini propagator that you can use over and over again. Really, really cheap. It's really cool because it's got this lid that keeps the moisture and the heat in. And I've got miniature sunflowers growing in here. So if you can pick up something like this, these are great. It's quite sturdy plastic, so you can use it over and over and over again. I've had this for like 4 or 5 years, so that is another option. And this will fit really easily on a windowsill as well. From a recycling point of view, these are fantastic. As you can see, this had kiwi fruit in it originally. Just went to the supermarket, bought some kiwi fruit, and thought this would make a really fantastic mini propagator. It's got a lid, so you know it keeps all the heat in and all the moisture in. This is some baby basil that I'm growing. So if you find anything like this, like if you're buying fruit at the supermarket and they come in things like this, then keep them if you want to, you know, do your own seeds, because these are awesome and it's recycling. You can use them over and over again. This is like 3 years old, so that's another really cool, cheap option. Or you can use Jiffy pots, which come in a pack like this, or you can get them in bigger packs. And what they are basically is these little round pellets like this, and you soak them in water for 10-20 minutes and they expand and they end up looking like this. And these are great for big seeds, so if you're only wanting to plant 2 or 3 like vegetable plants, like zucchini for example is quite a large seed, or you're wanting to grow 2 or 3 sunflowers, or you know, seeds that are big that you don't want to grow stacks and stacks of, these are great. And what you can do with these, and what the really cool thing is with these, is that they are completely biodegradable. So you put the seed in, it germinates, it grows, it stays in here. There's all the nutrients in this little thing to feed the plant, and then once it's ready to be put out in the garden, you plant the whole thing in the garden. The roots don't get damaged, so the plant won't suffer from any root shock. You know, when you've grown seeds, germinated seeds inside, and then you go and put them out in the garden, they can sometimes suffer a bit of root shock, because I basically come from a nice warm environment into the big, you know, cold world. So get down. So these are great. But I only use these for like big seeds and plants that I only am growing a certain amount of number of. So that's about it with containers, and I'm going to go ahead and do these seeds now. Now the seed raising mix that I use is this brand. It's a New Zealand brand obviously. It's called Tui. I like this mix because if I can show you, the mix is very, very fine. It's really fine. You don't want to use a mix that is too loose. Like I said, potting mix is no good, because let me just turn that around a bit, because the seeds will get lost, especially if you're using really fine seeds like poppy seeds for example, or tiny bergamot's another one, St John's wort. The seeds are really little, so you want to make sure that you use a really good quality seed raising mix. This is the only brand that I use. It's got pumice and wetting agents in it, so it doesn't dry out too quickly. So the seeds that we're going to sow today are calendula. They're really, really easy to grow, and they will self-seed prolifically. You can collect seed off them. And they're a good sort of seed to start with if you just sort of, you know, are starting out. And we're going to grow some zucchini. Over here we call them courgette. They are extremely easy to grow, and I don't know why more people don't grow them, because they are just ridiculously easy. And they are prolific fruiters, so if you don't harvest them regularly, they almost swell overnight and turn into great big marrows. And like for a family of three plants is absolutely massive. I end up giving heaps away, making soup out of them and all sorts of things. So we're going to grow them, and we're going to grow some valerian as well. So we'll put our valerian and our calendula in these two, and then over here we will put our zucchini. So let me just make sure that, see if I can zoom in a little bit so you can see. Bear with me, it's probably about as close as I'm going to get. So we're going to do a few calendula, and calendula seed is quite large, so they are very easy to sow, and they look like this. And what we're going to do is wet the mix first so it's nice and moist. Like I said, don't use a watering can, and just wash the seed away, and it'll all get all uneven if you use a watering can. Use a spray and just set the seed on top. You probably can't see, just slightly push it down and lightly cover it. Don't put it down too deep. We're just going to do 6 because I have a few of them in my garden anyway. But if you put them in too deep, they won't germinate. That's a mistake that a lot of people make, is that they just sow them far too deep and they can't make it to the surface. So just lightly cover them, and the rule of thumb is they shouldn't be like, to cover the seeds, it should be like double the width of the seed. So you can imagine, like with really fine seed, hardly any. Again, with really fine seed, like I mentioned, poppy seeds, you don't cover them at all. Just sprinkle the seed on top and just leave it. Some seeds need light to actually germinate, so you can't cover them anyway, but they will germinate. You think about seeds in the wild and how, in your own garden, seeds will self-seed. They don't have a magic trail that comes along and, lightly puts the cover of soil over them. They just naturally find their way into the soil to take root. So, really fine seeds, just sprinkle them over top. You don't need to water them. You don't need to cover them. Label what they are. I use these little ice cream sticks because they are really handy. Just put what it is. You can put the date if you want. I'm not going to bother, but you can put the date and just stick in there like that, and that you know what it is, because a lot of seeds will they look the same when you've sown them until they get their true leaves. So that's that one. And we'll do our valerian. Give it a good spray. Get the seed, and this seed is a little bit smaller. It's not the finest seed that you can get, but it is quite small, and I'm not going to do too many because I grow valerian already. So we'll do 4. And I don't know if you can see they're quite small, so just put them in, slightly press and really lightly cover it, just really lightly. You don't have to put them in any sort of row. This is where having a really fine mix comes in handy, because you can really lightly cover it. If it's too loose, you just can't do it. So that's our valerian. Like that. So we can put that over there. And do our zucchini, and zucchini seed is quite large. That's bright pink. So you can see it's big, which is where these little pots really do come in handy. So just kind of get your fingers in there and make a sort of a decent hole, sort of, you know, like that, sort of a fingernail depth. Press the seed in. These are really easy to grow, so these will definitely germinate, and do that for all three. The thing is with these little pots is not to let them dry out. So this little container that I have them sitting in, just leave like maybe a centimetre of water in the bottom of it, and it will like help to keep them really moist. So you can see the seed in there. Sort of peel that back a bit and cover it all up like so. And I'm just going to just put a wee label, and I'll just sit it across like that so I know what they are. And that's it basically. Really easy to do, nothing too complicated, a bit of fun. Well, I think it is. I'm a bit of a geek, so to me it's fun. Now I will go and put these in my conservatory, which is where I germinate all my seeds. Once they have popped their heads up, then you know I'll do an update. Once they've got their true leaves, and by true leaves I mean, let's see if I can show you. These are their true leaves. These leaves are the leaves that first come up when they germinate. See, you can see that they're first because they're underneath these ones. So when they have got their true leaves, then I put them out into my little outdoor propagator that I will show you in a minute. My basil are just starting to form their true leaves now. You won't be able to see on camera, but they've only got their baby leaves. So if you want, you can cover these with newspaper and glass, which keeps the heat in and keeps the moisture in. Once they've popped their heads up, take it off, take the cover off, because if you leave it on they'll die. They need light to continue growing, like I mentioned before. So I'll show you my little mini propagator. Out the way, dog. And this thing is just absolutely invaluable. I use it all the time. There it is there. I've got a few little bits and bobs in there growing. I think this was like $50 at a hardware store. It's got 3 tiers. Although in the bottom one I tend to put like gardening tools, and I've got a big concrete thing and then stop it blowing away, because that did happen one day. And you can get replacement covers for them as well, because they do perish. But these are brilliant. I put all my seeds in here you know, once they're sort of a certain way along, and finish them off in here. You can close the flap down at night, keep the cold out, but they're absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to go put the seeds in the conservatory, and we'll update you as to their progress. So thanks for watching, and I hope you found this video helpful. Any questions, just post them in the comments, and I will catch you guys next time. Have a great Mabon too, you guys, over in the northern hemisphere. See you later. Bye. Okay, sorry, I haven't quite finished. I knew I would forget something. It's really important that you don't let your mix dry out. So if they're going to be somewhere really warm, like in a conservatory or in a hot water cupboard, make sure you check them at least once to twice a day, and give them a mist. I mean, rule of thumb, just give them a bit of a light spray every day. You'll know if the mix starts drying out. You'll be able to see. But one of the main reasons, well, one of the biggest reasons that seeds fail is that people just forget to water them, and they just get too dry. That and the fact that people plant the seeds too deep and they can't find their way to the surface. So just, yeah, make sure that you are vigilant with keeping an eye on them for moisture and stuff. I just wanted to show you this as well. This is another option. You can get these really cheap. This was $10, I think. They're from a garden shop. And this is a little mini propagator. So you can sit this on a desk or really anywhere. And you can lift the lid off so you can let air in and things like that. These are tomatoes and these are capsicums. And both tomatoes and capsicums need a lot of heat to germinate. So I decided to get a really early start on both my tomatoes and capsicums, so I'm eating them early in the garden. But these come in handy for seeds that need heat and consistent heat to germinate, because tomatoes and capsicums do. Chilies are another one. They need consistent warm temperatures to germinate. So these little things are brilliant. You can use them over and over and over again. They generally come with their own seed raising trays. Mine broke, so I just put these in here. So these are a really good option as well, and cheap. And this is a windowsill tray propagator that you can use. I'm just going to let the cat in, because both cats are in here and they fight. So this is great for a windowsill. I've had this for honestly about 6 or 7 years, and I use it every season. You can take the lid off. Again, it comes with its own trays. Mine have broken over the years, so I just use replacements. This is skullcap in here. I've got vervain and love in a mist, which is a flower. The vervain and the love in a mist are taking ages to germinate, but the skullcap's doing quite well. So this is great if you're limited on space. You can sow a few different types of seeds and put them on the windowsill. If you've got a small garden, it's brilliant. And I think this was about $15 at a garden shop, but you'd probably be able to get things like this in yard sales and garage sales and whatever. So just keep a look at. I mean, any container is fine to grow seeds in. Anything plastic. Don't use anything porous. I know a lot of people do the egg carton thing. I personally don't like that, because the cardboard is porous and it takes all the moisture out of the mix, out of the seed raising mix, and it's just that much harder to keep an eye on for watering and stuff like that. So personally, I don't like them. I use plastic, and I know that that's hardy and I can use them over and over and over again. What else have I got to show you? Little things like this. This had herbs in that I've brought over the years. If you're wanting to grow, you know, like one of things or just a couple of things, you can just put one seed in these pots, and these are great. This is moonflower. I'm so excited. These two are moonflower, and they take quite a wee while to germinate, but they're really big seeds, so these little things are great for you know, for vines and things like that. Big seeds, plants that you just want to grow a couple of things off. This is all my corn. Hasn't all come up yet. Corn can be a little bit tricky sometimes to germinate. A good rule of thumb is to soak the seed for a few hours in some warm water. Softens the shell of the seed and makes germination a bit easier. But these are cool. These trays, again, these were really cheap. There's 4 in the tray, so yeah, brilliant. And again, I've got another little container. This has got a mullein in it. They have sprouted, but you won't be able to see. And that's got heliotrope, which is notoriously hard to germinate, so I'm just giving that a go. I don't know if we're going to have any success with that, but we'll see. Okay, so I think that was everything that I wanted to cover. Like I said, any questions, feel free to ask, and I will catch you back soon. Okay, blessed be, bye.